Dave and I talked with Grant, and I talked to Larry, and I'm preparing, and all of a sudden, you know, I hear, you're not going to say that. You're not going to say that either. And you're not going to say that. Well, exactly what am I going to say? And here's what I heard. So I wrote a number of talks today. I've created a title. We'll see if I get there. But I heard Tamra, the only thing worthwhile to talk about is the God within. So, I'm getting a lot of guidance. I'm on a massive journey of inner listening these days, and today I'm going to talk to you about 3 things. And I hope that in the end of this that you walk away with a nugget. I have something to give you that we'll go through at the end of this. But I'm going to talk about a story of bliss and death. I'm going to talk about how you're to put your soul in the front seat of your life. And I'm going to talk about how to nurture your God self and practice your pure potential. So there are a lot of ways that we can live this life, and as we know, they're messy and they are ups and downs. You said it so well. Thank you so much for sharing what you shared, because it was perfect for what I'm going to talk about today. Because for those of you who know me, might know me as a cheerleader, might know me as somebody who's pretty much always got a smile on my face and trying to see the bright side of life. And then there was the time in my life not so long ago when I got knocked down to my knees, and let's see, I didn't know how I was going to say this today. There are many of you in here that don't know this story, but in the last few years, I faced the door of death. Not because I was sad, but because I couldn't see any point in living this life anymore. I lived a lot of spiritual truths. I had lost my spiritual rudder, and I thought, what's the point now? I don't get it right now. I just kind of want to go on and float around in space. I think that's where we go, right? We float around. But here's the deal, that not long before that, I actually experienced the true state of bliss, which was a place that I went in my emotional state of being that had no words. It had just pure love. And I knew I was there, and I was there for days on end. And I thought, I've made it. I've become enlightened. I've somehow reached this nirvana, this ecstasy, this euphoria, this place of all complete pure love. And I was there. And then my blessed teacher said to me, well, you can stay there, but you might want to come back out and continue working on yourself. And so, thud, right? Thud. Out of bliss I fell. I've never returned to that exact state since then. I've been searching for it, and I just think it's wonderful to have had it. And then continue the story on a few years later, I go to this doorway of death. The doorway of death of, I think I've experienced my spiritual journey, and I think it's time for me to move on to another dimension. It wasn't sad, really. It was another dimension. This is what I didn't know what was going to come out today, but I have realization in my heart today, because I didn't realize this until this morning. And I thought, there's something going on here, and I can't put my finger on it. And it was exactly 4 years ago that this happened, right now. We live in a linear time, but we don't. We live in our experiences all at the same time. And it was this experience of the doorway of death was framed by the death of a woman in Bend, Oregon. Her name was Kelsey Collins. She looked a lot like me. She had long blonde hair. She was a spiritual teacher. She had a radio show. She was a beacon of light for everyone in her community. And she committed suicide March 29th of 2015, which is the same time that I was lying on my bed wanting to leave. And I listened and watched the Facebook page, because I knew her and I knew a lot of her story. She actually was an expert in death and dying. And I listened to her, and I watched the people dealing with this aftermath of this whole thing from a spiritual level. And I'm not going to stay here long emotionally. I'm going to pull you into a new place, which is that it was one of the greatest gifts that she could give, even though it was probably for herself that she created that experience in her beingness, in her world. There were some spiritual people that channeled her afterwards, and she was very joyful and happy, bodiless, and living in her bliss. But the thing about this, and the reason that I'm bringing this up today around sprout infinite possibilities, is that there has to be death in order for there to be new life. That we have to be okay with the cycles that life is. Life is decaying, it's destructive, it does all of these things to us, and then we rise again out of the ashes. See? We do it every day. We do it with decisions we make. We do it with all of these things in the way that we are. So, my life had been a vast experience of bliss and suffering, of unity and separation, and of life and death. And I know that each and every one of us sitting in this room right now can say, yep, that's the human journey, right? But here's something in preparing for this talk that came to me, which is, we are here on earth in this human body to experience the separation between the ego mind and the soul, and to learn our way back home to oneness. I'm going to read that again, so I'm going to read it again. We are here on earth in this human body to experience the separation between the ego mind and the soul, and to learn our way back home to oneness. So if we get comfortable with the fact that that's the journey we're on, that we accept and receive that we are on a journey of destruction, decay, tragedy, suffering, and bliss, then we can kind of frame our mind in a different way. When we hit the hard times, we can go, hey, you know what? I know on the other side of this, if I learn the lesson that I'm here to learn in this experience, I'm going to move myself closer to bliss. I'm going to return home. And so we're spiritual because we're all trying to return home, right? How many of you believe that? Raise your hand. Yeah, it's so simple. And so now I'm going to take that and I'm going to put you in your car, and your car is going to be this vehicle that you go into, and we're going to put the soul in the front seat. Okay? Because here we go, we have control over this. So here's your car, you're driving along. You know that little Jeep gift that Bert and Ernie driving along in their car? I don't know if you've seen it before, but Bert and Ernie are in the car. Okay, and at the driver's wheel, sometimes of life we can put the ego. And the ego can take us on a bad journey. We can go down all kinds of wrong routes, we can go in all kinds of different directions, and we do it for the sake of learning, right? Ha 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 ha, right? Ego in the front seat and the steering wheel. But here's what I like to say about that we can put the ego in the back seat with a video game, right? A good one, a virtual one maybe, like create its own world back there, while we put our soul in the front seat, our wise selves, our God-connected selves in the front seat, and we drive our lives. So where I'm leading you is into the light. I'm leading you into, not that life is light all the time, we know that, but that we have an option and a choice, and that if we're actually here to learn the difference between the two and to return home to the light self, that the person in the front seat has to be the soul. It has to be the soul, right? So we're driving along, now I want you to visualize this, because next time you have a bad day, ask who's driving the car. Right? Ask who's driving the car. So your soul-centered self is the one that puts you up there. Now, that doesn't say that the soul isn't there to give you some lessons too, right? Because that's the journey. The soul is in the front seat to give you the lessons of your life. We all know this, right? But when we have a bad experience, it can take us on patterns, and it can take us on beliefs. It can take us down old roads and old programs and subconscious beliefs even that we have. And it can take us down a loop. Sometimes it can take us into blame, into doom, into self-pity, into all these things. Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and experience these things. But when we know that when the soul gets in the front seat, we have the power to bring ourselves back into union and connection with God, with Source, with everything that we already are. Now we're talking, right? We are not victims. We are not any of these things. We are actually already everything that we dream of and want to be, right? So I'm going to talk about bliss here for a second because it's one of my favorite topics. And I looked it up, like I only looked up one definition here, but I got far enough. It said paradise, heaven, rapture, euphoria. And then I sat and I thought, what did I experience? And I experienced birthright. That bliss is the vibration of God. Bliss is the feeling, the emotion in your body of God. And it's the natural flow of grace and allowance of miracles, which are always waiting for you every day. It's the vibrational match to God. But darn it, we have free will. Now we're in trouble, right? We have free will. We have the ego that's in the back seat, trying to get in the front seat, crawling over the top, bapping us on the head, doing whatever it's doing back there. And all the time, we know that we can actually return to this amazing state of being that's godly. So this is what I'm talking about in terms of the infinite field of possibilities. When we think of decay and rebirth, and we think of all these things we go through, we actually put the soul in the front seat. We defer and default to the God self within us, and we say everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be all right. I learned my lesson. I see what's going on here, and I'm going to put my soul in the front seat anyway. So how do you do this? We're going to go through an experience, but I'm going to teach you something first. Are you ready? Okay. We're going to go into, if you're willing, now if anyone doesn't want to do this, just hang out and enjoy the ride. You put your hands in the Enlightenment Mudra. And so what you do is you cross your other two fingers, your second two, and then you point your other fingers this way. Now you can point your thumb at you, or you can point it up. It doesn't really matter. Put it at your heart if you like. You can put it at your head if you like. And what I'm going to do now, and I'm going to go through this, and by the way, I have brought handouts for you to take of what I'm about ready to do with you. So don't worry, you'll have it as a gift. But we're going to hold that Enlightenment Mudra, and I'm going to tell you a little story first, which is, I'm reading this really good book. I'm doing healings again, and I'm not doing healings. The archangels are doing healings, and they're working through me lately. And it's quite an experience. And I'm reading this book called The World of Archangels and How to Meet an Archangel. And it's written by Sufyan Chowdhury. I love this book. It's very fun, and he's a wonderful spirit. And there's a meditation I'm going to take you through called the God Self Meditation. Because what we're going to learn how to do is we're going to learn to count on our God selves when times are tough, and the ego jumps at the steering wheel and pushes the gas pedal. We're going to take it back. So I reached out to Sufyan, and I don't know where he is in the world, somewhere. He's Indian, East Indian. And I said, would you be okay if I shared the God Self Meditation with my church community? And he said, absolutely. So this is a gift from Sufyan. Thank you, Sufyan, for allowing us to share a big section of your book. So in this experience of the God Self Meditation, we're going to default to light. We're going to default to light. So what I want you to do is just close your eyes, take a deep breath in. You can hold your mudra over your heart or over your head if you like. And just get comfortable in your chair. Relax your legs. Relax your shoulders. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose, slowly. And release. Your eyes are closed. Holding your mudra of enlightenment, and you're anticipating that you're returning to your true self. So visualize yourself standing on a pathway in the middle of a forest of completely white trees. The focus is the incredible abundance of tall white trees lining your path, completely surrounding your location. The sky, the ground, and everything else must be irrelevant and black. Start to walk along this path and visualize every single step you take. Feel you are actually walking in the forest and feel the cool, fresh air against your face as you walk along. There is nothing moving and nothing rustling. It's just you and the white trees. You can interact with them. Go up to one tree and touch it and feel how soft the trunk is in your hand. After some time walking down this calming path, you come across a small doorway suspended in midair above the ground. There is a small staircase leading up to it. Walk closer to it. See two guards standing on either side of the doorway with large spears. Greet them, give them a nod, and keep walking up the staircase to the door. Slowly open the door, and as you do, visualize an immensely powerful white light bursting out from behind it. Open the door completely, walk into the light, and close the door behind you. This white light, so powerful that it burns through you, there's no escape. It completely surrounds you, shines through you, engulfs you, disintegrates you, and turns you into universal energy. Visualize yourself slowly burning away into the immensely powerful white light. Feel yourself suddenly become one with the universe and part of the life that surrounds you. You are the trees. You are the forest. You are the planet. And you are all the people living here. Everything is connected by universal energy. Remain in this beautiful state and hear the beating heart of the world. From the smallest element to the largest tree, everything has become one. Everything is you. Back in your body, visualize and more importantly, feel a white glow starting to emanate from the center of your soul. Allow it to spread throughout your body until it emanates within every single cell. Intensify this white light within you and let it emanate through your skin until you illuminate your surroundings. Feel the love of such a powerful presence within you. And focus on your crown chakra. Feel your crown chakra sourcing pure white energy into your body. Let the energies emanate inside you until you feel the power of God within you. There are no more limitations. There is no such thing as restrictions. You have become all-powerful. The human body is a tool, and you have mastered its very existence. Feel the world bending to your thoughts. You are God. Your surroundings are God. The world is God. Everything is God. Everything is God. Take a nice deep breath in. And give gratitude for everything that you are right in this moment. Everything that is. And when you're ready, bring yourself back to the room. The human body is a temporary vehicle for the process of self-realization. We are here to become self-realized and to know that we already are everything we seek. Every time we take a leap upward, our new level of self-realization can steer our lives into a more fruitful path. Every time we realize this, that's what happens. So there's no real secret to basically to what's going on here. It already is, it already is. And you already are God creating your own universe. You simply came here to learn to love yourself. It's right inside of you right now. All the time, every second. It is so. My lasting words are words of Ram Dass, which said, when all is said and done, we're just all walking each other home. Thank you for your time today.
What a wealth of life we have that we get to be invited to participate in. Thank you, Tamra. I believe